Good morning, Iovance team. Is Friday, 24th of October, 8 a.m. in Central European time. And the reason for this video, if you've basically watched my previous videos, we discussed about Iovance, generally speaking, some SWOT analysis, some stock predictions based on historical data and some biotech industry benchmarks, basically, and all these things. And basically, last night they announced that they are going to be doing the any reports on Thursday for the first time. It won't be after hours. Check online. I put it on my X profile. There is actually documented reasons to believe that this could hint that the earnings could be better than the last. As I put on stock tweets or an X, I don't really think that these quarter results are going to be so amazing. I'm talking about 2025 Q3 are going to be so amazing just because I didn't have the time probably to reap the fruits of what they saw in the past. Hopefully, I will be wrong and I will celebrate it. Okay, but anyway, this time, so there are some reasons to obviously as every day passes, the chances to get data and having the stock price go up increase, right? So I was like, I felt the urgency last night and this morning to actually create this ahead of next week, because maybe they will launch this week already to prepare, the stock price, something like 4001 or endometrial could be, I don't know. So I was like, okay, I need to do this exercise for myself in terms of what should my decision be based on the outcomes, and also to help you do that exercise for you as you listen to me and challenge what I say and you're like, no, that's too optimistic. Great, that's going to help you work on your own models, which again you can download all the templates that I'm going to show you that I've showed in my previous videos. They are all on the description, the video, the description section on YouTube. Okay, so use them. So yeah, what are we going to do today? Today we're going to focus on your selling strategy. I'm going to be talking about mine. You should be working on yours because it is your money, not mine. So we are going to be exploring basically when to sell, when to hold slash buy. That's completely up to you. Based on historical stock price moves and the impacts in the overall Iovance value proposition, okay, and strategic value in terms of going by themselves, a partnership, and hopefully a buyout. Okay, check the previous videos if you need. Also, use the timestamps Jesus in the description of this video if you just want to skip, which I understand. Okay. Disclaimer, sorry, I have to say it. I am not a professional investor. I have no scientific background whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. Okay, Iovance has we have I always use the same sentence because it's true. It's true. We have a strong reasons to believe and be hopeful about Iovance, but there are also really strong reasons to be concerned, which is why the stock price right now is probably 220, something like that, right? Well, we are basically in the twos, yeah, 219 makes sense, right? That's because the price is discounted. It has discounted. Discounted means already taken into account. I already factor in all the risks, which are enormous, right? So just remember, the money that you put on Iovance, you may lose it. Hopefully, not all of it. Maybe just a percentage. I don't know. I don't see the future. And this is something that you need to remember. I am not some sort of authority for you to follow my guides or my beliefs. I am someone that has chosen to sacrifice her privacy, which I really appreciated before making these fucking videos, right? To put it out there. So hopefully some people will listen and they will use extract value, like whatever they think is valuable, and like put that into their own strategic thinking when they are at home quietly thinking about the future, what they want out of life, and all those things, meaningful conversations that you need to have with yourself, right? Again, you don't lose until you sell, blah blah blah. And obviously if you make money, you are paying taxes. So remember that when you do the tax return for the next year, so if this year you sell X amount of shares and you make X amount of money, you will need to pay for that money, for those benefits only, what is called capital gain, next year. So just remember, right? Don't get too excited and put all your money now on Iovance, Nebius, whatever company you believe in, without taking that into account, because it won't be a funny situation if you need to pay more taxes than you actually thought because you fucked up your calculations, right? Find on the internet tax return calculation for Spain, UK, wherever you are from. Yeah, please do it for real. And as I always say, when you make a lot of money, when you lose a lot of money, I strongly recommend not to tell anyone, even the people that you trust. Don't. Regain some composure, process things, see how the stock price evolves, because we've seen it before. The stock price is not going to reach the highest peak or the lowest peak right after the news come out. It takes time, right? We see that when there is a buyout for a biotech company, usually the peak, will be reached like 4, 5, 6 days after, and then it goes down because the people come down, and that's it, right? This could be the same for bad good news. But again, it's more complex than that. Unfortunately, I'm going to do my best under the assumption that I am not a financial professional investor. I am familiar with forecasting because I studied business, operations, warehouse management, all these things, but it's not the same. And I haven't done that in 10 years. So obviously you can expect much of me, okay? Anyway, why is this here? Yes, sorry, this is correct. Okay, so again, we're going to be, what have I done, right? I've listed the catalyst that we are expecting. Catalyst is an event, in this case, I don't know, any reports, which is when the company basically shares how much money or losses they've made in a given period, a quarterly period. So that's 3, divide 12 months in the year by 4, 3, that's it. Basic mathematics, right? We are also, because we're talking about biotech, clinical data, clinical trials, hoping to find the treatment to cure cancer or at least help us live longer with cancer, right? This is obviously the second, and I would say the most important catalyst. This is where you see IOVA 4001. This is basically the technical name for that treatment specifically. Then we have market approvals like Switzerland, UK, Australia coming for Iovance, and different things that if they go well, we expect the stock price to go up. Again, stock prices correct, they go up and then they come down. We saw it with Nebius. Everyone was like, oh my God, right? I entered at 60 USD and it went to 130 USD. Obviously, I didn't sell because I know what I have, right? I know the value of what I have. And then it went down to 90 and people are like, oh my God. No, this is normal. It's like a relationship. You get super excited. Oh my God, he has such beautiful eyes, mouth. He's so intelligent. Everything is so amazing, right? Give yourself some time, right? And then the reality of the relationship kicks in. If there is truly substance, alignment in goals, in values, in all things, usually, people last longer for many years. Sometimes, unfortunately, they shouldn't, but this is it, right? So this is the same. This is a natural physics law. This is a natural law that applies to mostly everything, and also stock prices, right? So we need to factor that in. But I will factor. So after I do this, so right now what I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on the catalyst. Just remember that I do not see the future. I don't know the order in which these catalysts are going to be known for us. And this is extremely important because it's not just about the stock price variation for a catalyst, it's about the compound effect, right? All of it working together, and then some correction, and then new outcomes, and then some correction, right? So it's really hard to do this exercise properly and correctly. I am not doing it for that specific reason. I cannot do it. I don't have the skills and I don't see the future, right? So I can't do it. So again, take this with a pinch of salt and do your work. Don't come to me and tell me in 3 months, because you told me that the stock price could go 50%. Yeah, I've also told you that it could go to minus 50% and you could lose your money, right? So take your life seriously because no one else will, and do the math. Thank you. Anyway, so okay, so let's say. So now we know that the 25 Q3 results that you have in pink there are going to be announced in 2 weeks, in 2 Thursdays. So let's say that I am really optimistic and I think that we are going to know about IOVA, why am I putting this wrong? Anyway, 4001 next week, okay? A reminder, this is basically the clinical results trials for the next generation of TIL using TALEN, which is a PD-1 inhibitor, right, for metastatic melanoma. Okay, also lung, but this one really focuses on melanoma. Second line, so we are still in second line, which is what we currently have FDA approval for in the US and Canada only, right? We're just improving it, hoping that this new generation can be even better, which obviously increases our value in the market. And then through other indicators or cancer types, we will hope the value increases, right? But we are here right now with 4001. I am saying that the likelihood of a positive outcome is 60%. I am trying to be conservative here because, again, we thought that we would get EMA approval, because who on earth would basically, take a treatment that is working from patients that are dying, right? Well, it happened in Europe. They rejected Amtagvi due to several concerns that you can find on the internet, right? So shit, like crazy shit happens, and it happened. And it could happen again. So I am just going to say, we know that Amtagvi works, right? To the extent that it works, check all the metrics that matter to assess a treatment, the quality of a treatment. So I am saying, okay, it could go either way, but I'm more towards a yes. Okay, what happens if it doesn't go well? Okay, I will hold unless I see that this new clinical trial reveals toxicity issues, safety issues. It really contradicts like freaking crazy the real world data that we've seen from Amtagvi, which, by the way, someone really intelligently made a comment on my first YouTube video saying that the real world data has not been verified by the relevant authorities. This is obviously something to take into account. I'm not saying they are lying. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm just saying we really need to understand the process and the quality controls and quality the quality controls and validations that need to be in place so that we can be more sure about our assumptions about something, right? Like in this case, till therapy working, and again, it works, okay? But just be mindful of those details, because the devil lives in the fucking details, and I don't have the details 100% because I don't see the future. I'm not a professional investor, and I am not a scientist, oncologist, or anything like that, right? So you do your diligence, and please, if you realize that there's something wrong, something to add, use a YouTube comment. This is not about me having being a YouTuber influencer and having control of the narrative. No, no, no. This is an opportunity for people like you to listen, learn, and contribute. Yeah. Okay. So again, if I don't see that there are some reasons for concerns in terms of the TIL therapy in general, if the clinical results are not extraordinary, I do not consider that I will sell. Okay. Now, the results of Q3 that are going to be being known basically to the public in 2 weeks, I would not consider selling unless it hints some structural, like something really concern. For example, Amtagvi sales substantially below guidance, negative changes in margins, again, maintenance fucking issues that shouldn't happen this quarter, but who knows? They come and tell us, oh, actually, remember that we told you that we were going to tell you about Lang 4001 and blah, blah this year? Oh, actually, it will be next year. Okay, I will sell. Why I will sell? Because I can put my money to Nevius, and I know that Nevius most likely will have news next or in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, let's see about timing, because now they have the any reports in the same fucking week, I think, right? It's about the opportunity cost. I will be basically, if the news that we get from Iovance are bad, the stock price will go down. I know that Nevius, for example, is likely to go up. So obviously, where am I going to put my money? On Nevius. And as it goes up, Nevius, I will sell it and I will re-enter Iovance. There is no reason to keep your money stuck in a place that doesn't generate money. Now, maybe for emotional reasons, you are like, honestly, right now, Kai, in my life, I cannot afford being checking prices and taking risks and moving money from one to another. Honestly, it may be the best in the end, right? We don't see the future. Maybe not moving your money is the best decision, but if in 2 weeks, if the any reports is shit and so on, right? Maybe you can sell a little bit and then come back later. I don't know. This is something that you again need to study and talk to yourself, right? So this is what I would personally do. If I really see reasons for consent, I would be definitely saying, maybe not all of it, but maybe 15, 20% most likely, right? Endometrial data. I again would not consider selling if the endometrial data is not the best, for the same reason as I would not consider selling if it's not the best for 4001, unless I see toxicity, safety, something that is like, this doesn't make sense. This really contradicts my belief in Iovance and TIL therapy, and Amtagvi specifically being the next great paradigm shift, right? Switzerland approval. Maybe if I see, okay, if many different things like if 4001 results endometrial, and if certain things have gone wrong and then we don't get Switzerland approval, I would be like, okay, why? So we already got the EMA rejection. We know that the US innovates and Europe regulates, and this is actually really useful. People really complain about Europe, and for good reason, because we should be creating right value as opposed to only regulating it. But thankfully, we have Europe regulating and saying to you, maybe don't get too excited about your treatment because maybe it's not good enough. And maybe because it's not good enough, doctors in the clinics and the hospitals are not going to be recommending Amtagvi because they have other alternatives, which is why I keep on saying we are talking about the business proposition, the clinical trials. We need to remember that there are competitors out there, right? This morning I saw news that I put on my X account, thanks to someone in Stock Tweets, that CAR-T may have discovered, let's say, a workaround for solid tumors, which before it was completely ineffective in animals, right? So it's really early stages, but it's possible that CAR-T finds out a cure for solid tumors, and obviously, who would basically bet on TIL, which is something new and expensive and right, something new. Like doctors, we don't really like change to an extent. We resist change unless the results are incredible, right? So if CAR-T comes with a solution that is better and its CAR-T is already implemented in the market and it's flowing and it's trendy and all that, fuck Iovance, right? Fuck TIL therapy. So remember this, like save it in your brain every morning. Good morning. Oh, Iovance is up. Amazing. Has something else happened in the industry? Check it. Okay, check it. Anyway, again, as it usually happens to me, I've lost my train of thoughts, but you get the feeling. Okay, so again, if I see that different catalysts are signaling something but deeper than there's some details that are not as important, and then we continue to get rejections by Switzerland, Australia, UK, then I will definitely sell a really really relevant amount of my holding or position, how it's called. Now, lung, obviously, what we're waiting for, non-small lung cancer data, second line. I would maybe consider selling a certain percentage if the results are not good enough for FDA approval. I'm not even talking about fast track. It would be ideal if we get fast track FDA approval, or we get into the path more than approval, because that's there are two processes, right? Three. First, I present the data. Second, the FDA says, okay, I think it's good enough. Let's take it for fast track. Third, I give you FDA approval, right? So we are talking here about the second step, which is the Iovance is given a voucher for the fast track FDA path, which again does not translate into approval. Very different things. Okay, if we don't get it, fast track approval, maybe I would sell somewhere like, sorry, if the data is bad, I would definitely sell a percentage between 20-40%. If we don't get FDA fast track approval, maybe if that adds up to lung data being bad, I would sell close to 50% of my position due to opportunity cost. I will basically see how things develop and I will consider coming back, right? Because if all these things go wrong, the stock price is going to go down. So I can just sell even at loss, so I don't need to at a loss, so I don't need to pay taxes, and then I will move to Nebius. Hopefully I will make a lot of money with Nebius, and then I will come back when I see that something is changing, and I don't mind sacrificing $1, $2 of my entry point of my average, if that basically means that I de-risk my investment, because this is my money that I worked for 10 fucking years, right? And it can be gone like that. So I'm just saying. Yeah, dilution, competition, changes in regulation, all these things can happen. You need to factor that in and take that into account. Yeah, so 2025 Q4, that means that we are already in 2026. I think they should be better. I'm not too confident about the results being presented next week. Sorry, in 2 weeks. I am more optimistic about 2026 Q1. I think 2025 Q4 could hint the reversal. I think hopefully 2026 Q1 will validate it. So again, I would not consider selling if any reports, if they report earnings that, like, results that are not too good, unless I see some structural challenges that, like clinical trials letting me know that maybe T therapy is not the best therapy. This tells me that the business model really has really serious issues, and it will just take longer, right? If they basically come to us and say we're not making as much money as we need, to an extent, it's not for me. It's not a strong reason for me to stop believing in Iovance. It just tells me that it's going to take longer. And if I can make money elsewhere and then come back to Iovance, why not? Like, right? I would do it most likely. It would be really difficult for me emotionally to detach from Iovance and manage the stress, because it's super stressful, right? Like moving savings, your money is really stressful. But it has to be done at some point. If something really hints that this is not what we think it is, we need to make amends to our strategy, right? This is a living thing. It's a fucking nightmare. Anyway, obviously, if there are schedule maintenance issues, the stock price could go to minus 40%, 50%. I would assess really if everything is telling me, signaling, flagging, there's something wrong. I would sell at least a percentage. Okay, UK approval. If we get it, amazing. If we don't, as I said before, if this is compounding, if we didn't get Switzerland, data wasn't good enough, I would sell. If it's just the UK not approving, obviously I wouldn't like it. The stock price may correct 30, 20%, 40%. I don't know. Not good news, but maybe I would not consider selling the entirety of my position based on that. Okay. 2026 Q1 results. Again, I do expect to see the reversal here, and this is why I'm assigning a likelihood of 70% of substantial improvement. I'm not saying we'll be profitable or anything like that, but we should see by now that things are truly improving and we are like changing gear, right? Because otherwise it's a nightmare. Just remember that we are only in the not even second year. No, we're not even in the second year of Amtagvi, right? Because Amtagvi got FDA approval the 14th of February of 2024. We've been in the market for over a year. It takes time, right? Doctors need time to assess and say, okay, I believe in this treatment. I'm going to recommend it to my patients, right? Everything takes time. We cannot just say that everything is going to work out amazingly well from one year to another, right? But we should see some traction. We should see some improvements in different indicators, right? That I've put here. No, did I put it? Yes, I put in the third column where you see, well, in the second column you see in pink 2026 Q1 results. In the next column you see what personally I'm going to be looking at the moment that they share the annual reports. I will be looking at the balance sheets and the information. I don't give two shits about what they say. To an extent I care, but obviously ultimately you care about both, but I will be looking at the numbers, and I may do a video to assess the numbers. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so same rationale as for other quarter results, although I assign more importance to 2026 Q1 and Q2 and so on, because I think that we should be seeing changes, positive changes there. Australia approval, absolutely the same rationale as UK. I will not consider selling unless many things have gone wrong, and it's telling me basically, including more countries' approval, which is telling me the FDA gave approval based on what? Politics, corruption, and just somewhat decent results. Or because if this really is the paradigm shift, right? The next big thing, and I think it could, right? So things to assess. Okay, TIL 301, this is the combo for first line melanoma, first line with Keytruda. Keytruda represents around 50% of revenue or profits. I'm not sure. I would assume it would be revenue based on how companies tend to talk of Merck. So if we get positive non-small lung cancer and positive 301 data, what are the odds of a partnership or a buyout? Extreme, really fucking high. So if these results are bad, I would be definitely really concerned. Why? Because first of all, Keytruda really works in first line. So if TIL really works in second line, and you combine them and it doesn't work, this for me is rather concerning, right? So would I sell? I mean, by then I think many different. Because remember, we'll be here maybe 2026 Q2, Q3, Q4. We don't really know when this data is coming. They haven't announced it, but it should come around those, like next year for sure, technically, right? But by now, certain many things could have gone wrong. So I would have already de-risk and sell parts of my position, or hold most of it, or hold all of it, right? We would talk about when to sell, and based on other variables aside from expected revenues and stock price moves and catalysts, right? So by now, if something major happened that was really bad, I would have sold a lot of my position. If everything went decently good enough based on what I've just said, I would have kept my money in Iovance, and this would definitely be a killer. I would probably consider re-entering if I left some like percentually, and then I am ready for what's next. The potential partnership. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so again, more more any reports, more data readouts. Again, exactly the same criteria as I explained in the previous ones. The difference is that we have here a major catalyst, which is either we run out of money, and I don't think we will, because again we will dilute, because basically when um when a company basically shares good news and the stock price goes really up, what they do is that they sell, and that way they fund themselves, right? So because the demand is going to be high, right, they use that force to basically sell a little bit, so the demand compensates a little bit, right? So instead of being like this, it will go a bit like this, and right. So that's what they do. They 100%, I think they will do it. Why? Because that way they have extra months to negotiate maybe a buyout or a partnership from a strongest position. We don't want to sell Iovance now and sell at premium, which would maybe mean that we multiply the stock price by 3, right? So 2 by 3 is 6 USD. Why sell now when I can sell in 2026 Q1 or Q2 with strong land data, endometrial, cervical, no, different things that basically validates the narrative of Iovance becoming a platform to save, like to cure, to improve the lives of people with cancer. Why would I do that, right? Only if I have concerns about my own value and my own numbers, I would do that. And they haven't done it in the past when there were rumors. I'm not saying factual conversations, because I don't, there are no facts that demonstrate to me that that happened, but it seems that they basically rejected some offers in the past, right? I don't know. I don't see the past. I don't see behind what's made public, factually speaking, right? So we will see what happens, basically. Okay, and also next year or early mid next year, based on FDA fast track or no fast track, we could get approval for non-small lung cancer, and in that case the stage is fucking set. Okay, now we've done some numbers, and this is amazing, right? But obviously, it's not as simple as that. If you are long, if you don't have, let's say, milestones or deadlines in your private life that somewhat force you to sell, what you would do is what I am most likely to do, which is I will just step back and stare right at what happened. So if you can do that, it's amazing, but you may not be able to do that, right? Maybe just like in this thing that I've put together, maybe at the end of this year, your car is broken, and you've been trying to, you've put tape so the lights don't fall and many different things to carry on, right? Because you don't want to take out your money on Iovance now. Again, you should have some savings put aside, not have all your money on Iovance, obviously, but just in case, right? You put some money aside. um you put your money on Iovance, and you know that beyond this month, well, beyond December in this case, the car needs something, right? So you know that you need 10K by then, right? So what would I do if I was you? Basically, this calendar, which for now is just speculation, is just a possibility of when they can basically announce certain things. I would just basically look at this calendar. These are the coming catalysts, which ones have happened, because this will tell me basically, once that time passes, what I'm waiting for and what's the likely impact on the stock price. You have that on the previous video and on the templates that you can download right now. Okay, so based on that, you can say, actually, no, it makes sense to wait, because we are expecting a few catalysts that could go really well. Or maybe you don't want to wait completely because you have some concerns that the data may not be good enough and it go down. So you will have to find the middle way, right? Like the middle ground, sorry. So the same, you plan to do a trip to Japan next year in March to see the sakura in Japan, and you will need 5K, right? So just do the math. And what I would do if I could, and exactly what I'm doing, and why I consider myself long. And again, long is a really it's a vague word, right? What is long? Waiting 1 year, 2 years, or 10 years, right? Everyone is saying, no, I am long in Iovance, and then they say they want to sell in 5 months. That's not being long. long, sorry, long, ling. Right? So again, you need to have a proper conversation with yourself and say, what are really my financial needs? Are these financial needs like, do I want to buy a house because I am spiritually and emotionally in need to buy a house, or because the market is going up and obviously the sooner I enter, the better, right? So have these conversations and really recognize, do I need a new fucking car? Do you really need a new car? Because if you don't and things are going well with the Iovance, just don't buy the fucking car, right? Take a use your own car, organize yourself better, use public transport, use a combination of alternatives, right? And just wait, obviously, right? If you can. This is what I would do. This is what I personally am doing. I'm basically organizing myself, my financial expenses. Obviously, if my car breaks, it breaks, but I have savings put aside. This is why don't invest all your money on anything. um I know I can fix it. I can fix the car if it breaks. I have my salary. I have savings every month. I'm putting aside a huge percentage of my savings, right? So I would recommend you to do the same, right? Now, what is likely to happen to the stock price and when? Remember that in the previous videos, I basically deep dive into this and the different assumptions, the bear, base, bullish scenario, which is bear is like we are really pessimistic and things are going really wrong. Base is like, yeah, we expect some good things to happen, some bad things to happen, compensate, más o menos. Or bull is like things go like crazy, right? Then you have extreme bearish, which is like even worse than we thought, and extremely bullish, which is wow, like how is everything working so nicely? I am not going to base this on extreme cases. I'm going to try to find the balance, okay? And again, you do your exercise. I am going to be showing my biases, which is my beliefs, the belief that I have about certain things going well, and the weight they will carry. This is where you see the numbers in pink, okay? So you will see that I assigned a certain probability to a certain thing coming out positive. Then there is a scenario where things go really bad. That should be a minus. Well, things go really well, and so on, right? So in this exercise, it's a mixed exercise. I'm going to be telling you exactly what I think is more likely to happen, okay? And then you can do your own exercise, right? So Iovance 4001, again, I think there are some reasons to believe that it will be good. So assuming that today, when I'm doing the calculation, this is a bit old, the price is 2.22 USD. I'm saying that Iovance 4001 being positive, it will likely have a 35% positive impact on the price. So we are in 3 with positive 4001, okay? I'm saying that Q3 results, I'm not the best, and because there is always a correction, especially with Iovance, I assuming that the stock price is going to be punished by 20%. Okay, so we are back in the 240s. There is another correction. Again, I want to penalize the stock price as much as possible to an extent. Why? Because this is what the history of Iovance has demonstrated me. Okay, so we are back to 192. Then endometrial data is going to be good, and I expect it to go back to the threes. I also expect the correction to be less than this. I don't. We seem we have support over the two, so I think it won't be as far. It won't go as far as 192. But again, I want to punish the stock price because this is what has been happening. So with good endo, I'm saying it will go back to 3. Switzerland approval, I think there are some reasons to believe that it could happen. Canada pushed the stock price plus 7%. I am saying that Switzerland pushed it a bit more. And we got to almost 4, right? Then I'm saying there is again correction back to the 270s, and then I'm saying long data is really good, and that multiplies the stock by 2.5, and we almost end up the year close to 10 USD. Okay, there is a small correction, dilution that will happen, and so on. So I'm bringing it back to 756. Okay, and that's it. End of 2026, 2025, unless the amount the shortly or at the same time that they announce some data, they say actually we've been granted an FDA fast track voucher. And in that case, I think the stock price will either maintain after some correction or go up. Here I'm saying it will maintain, okay? And I think it will go up. But again, I want to punch the stock because this is what has been happening to us. Now we are in 2026, so we get the 2025 Q4 results. I'm saying they will be better. So I am giving it a stock price increase of 5%, close to 8 USD now. A scheduled maintenance issue, I'm saying they won't be this time, right? So they could happen. I've already punished the stock before, and I am punish it again just below a scheduled maintenance issues. I'm saying there will be a correction, so we are back to the four, like close to fives, right? Then we get UK approval. I think so. I think we'll get a bigger because it corrected, and this will be positive. And again, the value of the market is bigger than Canada, and Canada pushed the stock price by almost 8%. I'm saying we are gaining momentum. Data was good. Everything is good. 22.5% increase. We are back to the almost six, right? And then we get 2026 Q1 for the first time. Data is good, results are good, plus 20%, 7 USD. Australia approval. I am being negative here. I think, let's say, I'm just playing with this. I don't see the future. We don't get Australian approval for whatever reason, right? So we are penalized almost 10%, close to the sevens, but below, so 644. Like always, there is correction. I am saying major crazy correction. Minus three. Sorry, we get to 387. Okay, so this is where we left it, 387. Now till 301, Keytruda extreme strategic value in terms of a buyout or a partnership is good. This should really push it, and I'm saying that after long data, everything compounds. The sentiment is better. We have more faith and strong reasons to believe on Iovance. We get back to the tens almost, right? Q2, 2026 Q2 is finally good. We are getting there. We get close to the 11 USD, actually above the 11 USD. Cervical is good. And I'm assigning a weight of 60%. It could imply less, like a smaller stock price increase, or maybe bigger. I don't know. I don't see the future. So we are close to the 20s now. But obviously, I'm going to do some correction because everything that goes up goes down, and rightly so. So we are back to the 11. Then we have the potential, right? If we reach cash, if we don't have cash, we go to shit. So I'm basically not taking that into account because I think the result is rather obvious. But if we get a potential buyout or partnership, and I think this is likely to come in 2026 Q2, Q3, but I'm pushing it a little bit because I assume they will dilute and they will have money to get to 2027. Okay. Right. If there is a buyout and we are in the tens, we get premium because Merck is fighting with BMS or Gilead, how it's pronounced. I am saying we will likely get to the 40s, right? But that won't be the end because things keep on happening and Iovance value continues to increase, right? So we could get the results for FDA fast track lung approval. Maybe not, it will be in 2027, but if that happens, I think it will multiply the stock by 2.5, which is a 250% increase. We've seen that before. We only saw close to 100% increase for Amtagvi FDA approval, but remember that the compound effect, right? So now we will be a company with FDA approval for Amtagvi and now lung data, non-small lung cancer, and we see that 301 is good, and we are seeing that endometrial is good. So we are validating the platform narrative. So all that accumulates, right? And I am saying that we get with FDA approval. If it's fast track, we wouldn't have it. If it's not fast track, we wouldn't have it until 2027. I'm saying that we get to 81 USD, right? 2026 Q3, everything adds up. EMA approval. Will we have a approval for Europe? That would be another major fucking catalyst, right? So if we are in the 98s, almost 100s, we will definitely get over 100s, right? We will correct and a factoring correction, a crazy correction of 40%. Honestly, could we get to 135 as I put here as the result of the end of 2026? It's a possibility. Is it likely to happen? I have my doubts, right? It's a major increase, but also we are undervalued. So we have, the crazy thing about Iovance is that we have so many catalysts coming, so many relevant things that could go well and also wrong, that it's possible. Like it is a possibility that we end up in the 20s or 15s without an acquisition, and then we sign an acquisition and we multiply that by 2, 3, 4, I don't know, and then other things happen and then we go even further, right? So this is why I'm saying, when you have something like this in your hands, you can't get too optimistic and too dreamy about the future and what's going to happen, because we've seen many things that, like, for a logical person would have not happened, maybe happened, right? It makes sense to just wait, right? So I would love to have a 4x4 car. I have a small car, I love to go into nature, right? I would love to have more space. My dog is really long. She basically steals 50% of the available space in the car. I would love to do many other things. I would love to go to Japan. I would love to take more than a month of holidays for the first time in my fucking life, right? And I'm not doing it. I continue working. Why? Because this could work out. And if it doesn't, look, I tried, and look at me, I learned, right? So depends on how you want to go about it, but I would suggest to go long with Iovance, right? Because it will need some time, but maybe it will surprise us and it will be faster than expected. Okay, so this is it. I need to work. I hope this was useful. If again, you can download the templates and do your own numbers. If you see there's some major mistakes about what I've said, or things that I'm not aware of that or you actually want to say, actually, based on my results, I expect the stock price to be like this. Let's create a conversation. Let's, right? Because some people are completely new to investment. They don't even know that stock tweaks or X exist. Let's help each other. If you have an advantage, don't use it to be rich yourself. What's the fucking point of being the only rich person in your fucking neighborhood, right? No point whatsoever. So just please contribute to the conversation if you want, can, and so on. Okay, I hope you have a good weekend. I hope that you don't see me anytime soon because I need to rest from these things. But if you need anything, you know where to find me, I think. So, good luck to us.